So this phone is what we all expected Nokia to come up with. This is the Qin F22 Pro from the house of Xiaomi. At first glance you might not notice, but this is actually a full touchscreen Android phone. And not just that, it has some crazy offerings for a phone with a candy bar design. So let's start the exploration. We have a 3.5-inch display and a physical navigation T9 keypad at the front, an air blaster at top, single SIM slot and volume rockers on the sides, and a Type-C port at the bottom. On the back we have an 8-megapixel camera with LED flash and a 2-megapixel selfie camera. Sadly and surprisingly there is no headphone jack, which is quite a bummer. The phone is extremely compact and lightweight, even though side by side with a smartphone it looks quite similar in height. But trust me, it's very easy to grip and the weight difference is huge as well. The 3.5-inch display comes with a resolution of 640x960. However, the clarity and sharpness is pretty good for the small size. Even the sound from the front-firing speaker is pretty loud and clear. An additional yet helpful feature is this IR blaster, which is pretty standard in Xiaomi devices and is extremely helpful in controlling AC, fans, TV and etc. The physical keypad and navigation button are clicky and tactile. It feels good while typing and the click sound is also quite satisfying. However, the keypad functionality is quite limited, which I will discuss in the software part. The phone runs on stock Android 12 with no foreseeable updates as of now. Fortunately, it's the full Android 12 version and not the lighter Go edition, which means we get the full app opening and closing animations. The settings page is standard with additional options such as dual speed to manage the app's auto start permissions, which you will need for apps like Truecaller. However, we do have helpful options such as left to wake and keypad backlit settings. Do remember you need to be in a darker environment to toggle the keypad backlit. We have 64 GB of internal storage, which means we can install a good amount of apps and games. Although normal apps like social media, banking and payments, shopping will work without issues, and if you want to make it minimalist looking, then you can use a third-party launcher like Niagara Launcher. Also for the Indian users, the JioSIM works without issues, so you can use 4G with VoLTE callings as well. You can also connect to 5 GHz Wi-Fi network, create hotspots and USB tetherings as well. Another great thing about the compact phone is the performance. It is powered by the popular MediaTek Helio G85 processor, which is a solid performer for daily uses. On AnTuTu, it scores a respectable 230K, which is quite good for a phone of this size. And in my month of usage, the phone was extremely responsive with no major signs of lags or stutters. However, since the processor is from the 2020, it does struggle with tasks like opening an app and then quickly opening the camera, or trying to minimize a heavy game and then reopening it. When coming to gaming, I wouldn't recommend landscape games like BGMI, PUBG or Call of Duty Mobile, as the screen is barely visible under your fingers. However, portrait games do look and are fun to play. I would recommend you to try and play Java games using the J2ME emulator. You can then utilize the navigation button to play those games and relive the Java games nostalgia era, as these games in my opinion aren't that much fun to play on a touchscreen smartphone. Now coming to the physical keys, while you can remap them in the emulator to play these games, however they aren't reliable for general uses. Sometimes they work in apps and sometimes they don't. The end key is also the power button, so if you want to end the call, you have to use the touch input, which is quite irritating. Also, the phone dialer won't press the numbers after you open the app. You need to first tap the input area. I won't talk much about the camera as they are nothing special. You can use them to share images with your contacts and that's it, as it's definitely not for social media. Video quality is limited to 720p and the quality is quite bad and full of noise. It reminds me of those UFO clips. The front camera is strictly for video calls only. The flash, however, is extremely bright and lights up the room quite nicely, which I didn't expect. One thing I noticed is that the pictures look a lot better when clicked with flash on, at least in indoor. Now I kept the battery backup at the last as it varies a lot. Like if you use it like a normal smartphone with social media, chatting and occasional games, then it lasts for 4 to 5 hours and that's it. But if you use it as a detox phone, like only for calls, messages, and maybe occasional navigation, then it can last easily for a day or two. So depending on your uses, you can judge the backup. Overall, I can definitely daily drive it for a long time, and currently I have my secondary SIM in it. So with that, the exploration has come to an end, and I will see you in the next one.